The סיום is going to be a מסכת ראש השנה.
Okay, the סיום is going to compare tefillah to Birchas Kohanim. He's going to bring out, we're going to learn out tefillah from Birchas Kohanim, and then the Rebbe is going to analyze the connection between tefillah and Birchas Kohanim. So first we'll start with the last Mishnah, and the first half of the Mishnah talks about Tkiyah Shofar on Rosh Hashanah, and the second half talks about tefillah. And the Mishnah says, "Kishem she'shliach tzibur chayiv," just like the shliach tzibur, he himself is chayiv to daven. Kach kol yochid v'yochid chayiv. So everybody else in shul is also chayiv. In other words, the shliach tzibur can't be moitzi the people that are in shul. However, the Mishnah says, "Rabbi Gamliel Omer shliach tzibur moitzi es rabbi midei chalosim." He holds that the shliach tzibur could be moitzi the rabbim, the public, from their obligation to daven. Then the Gemara will pick up on the theme of Rabbi Gamliel, and will say as follows: Omer Rav Acha bar Avira Omer Rav Shimon Chasida Poiter Hoyer Rabbi Gamliel Afilu Am Shebesodes. He says that Rabbi Gamliel was poiter, exempted even the people that worked in the fields. And you don't have to say, it's not necessary to say, that those that are closer by, for sure he's pater. So the Gemara says, Adrab, fakir, just the opposite. Those in the field are forced to work. It's like a oines. Those that are close to town, or those that are in shul, they're not, there's no oines there. For sure they have to daven. And so he brings a raya. The Tony Abba Rav Binyamin Bar Chia. He brings a raya from Birchas Kohanim. Am she'achrei HaKohanim. Those people that stand behind the Kohanim during Birchas Kohanim, einan b'chlal bracha. Do not receive the bracha from Birchas Kohanim. Then, so the Gemara changed its mind. Ela kiyasa Ravin, when Ravin came from Bavel, Omer Reb Yankiv Ba'idi, Omer Reb Shimon Chasida, Loi Pater Rabbi Gamliel, he says, Rabbi Gamliel did not exempt, Ela, only those, Am Shabbos. Why only those that were in the field that were working? My time, Mishum Danisi B'mlocha, because they were busy doing work in the fields. Avo Ba'ir, those people that are found in town, Loi, they're not pater, they are chayiv to come to shul and daven. And the Rashi says, Avo the ir Loi, Mishum Deloy Anisi, because they are not oinus, they're not considered. They were forced. They had the comfort of being in the city. And they could have and they should have arranged their davening, and they should have davened with the minyan and with the shliach tzibur. So there was no excuses. So interestingly, the premise that you can learn out tefillah from Birchas Kohanim only works if you assume that Birchas Kohanim is higher than tefillah, right? So it's like it's basically a kal v'chomer. If by Birchas Kohanim, which is higher, you still have to do something. What's the something? You have to stand in front of the kohen. So too, by tefillah, which is lower supposedly, so there too you have to do something. What do you have to do? You have to daven. So the Rebbe says it's not so simple. So he compares, the first thing the Rebbe does, he compares tefillah to stam bracha. And he says, let's compare and see if there are similarities or differences. So the Rebbe starts, he says, let's start with the Ratzon Chodesh, with the new Ratzon. He says, is tefillah asking for a Ratzon Chodesh? So the Rebbe answers, for sure. That's what we say, Yehi Ratzon. That's a Ratzon Chodesh. Is bracha asking for Ratzon Chodesh? And the answer is no. We'll explain a little bit more soon. The second point, the Rebbe says to compare tefillah to birchas stam. He says, where is tefillah being brought down from? So tefillah is mimalim seder shtalshus. That's the whole new ratzon. You have to go above seder shtalshus to bring down the new ratzon. However, by stam bracha is already in the seder shtalshus. The only thing it's stuck on the way down, so it has to be pulled down. So you need a rebbe to pull it down. You need other things to pull it down. So far we're seeing that not only is tefillah not lower, tefillah seems to be so far higher. And then the Rebbe says, is the tefillah of a shliach tzibur dependent on the mispalim? So the Rebbe says, generally no. You don't need a special hachana. The mispalim don't need a special hachana. But what about bracha? Bracha you do. You have to be a keli to receive the bracha. So there are hachanas. So far it's just the opposite. Instead of seeing that birchas koinim or brachas bechlal is higher, so far the brachas is actually lower than tefillah. So the Rebbe goes to the next level and he says, you know what? Let's compare tefillah to birchas koinim itself, not to a stam bracha. Okay. So we said before that tefillah is a ratzon chodesh. Is birchas koinim also a ratzon chodesh? And the Rebbe says the answer is yes, it is. And I was just thinking, sorry, this the Rebbe doesn't mention, but in other kehillas, when they do birchas koinim during the week, they don't say, like we say, Yerech Hashem v'shmerecha, Amen. They say, Ken yehi ratzon. Interesting. There must be a reason for it. Other people, I'm sure, know the answer. So here where it says that birchas koinim also is a ratzon chodesh, there must be something to it. Then the Rebbe said, again trying to compare birchas koinim to tefillah, he says, are we mamshech b'mayla miseder shtalshus in birchas koinim? And we said that yes, we actually in birchas koinim you go beyond just like you do in tefillah, which was different than regular bracha, as we said before. Then the Rebbe asked, does the one receiving the tefillah or the one receiving the bracha and birchas kohanim have to make an effort to receive it? So the answer again is yes. By tefillah, the person we said before has to come to show and to daven. By birchas kohanim, he has to make the effort of facing the kohen. Then finally the Rebbe tries again, comparing tefillah to birchas kohanim, and he says, is there hachana required on the part of the shliach tzibur or on part of the kohen? So the Rebbe says yes. By tefillah, the Baal Tefillah has to prepare the davening, and by birchas kohanim he has to do netilas yadayim, and he has to have in mind the people that he's benching, etc. So far we've now come from a bracha that was actually lower than tefillah. Now we're equal. Now tefillah and birchas kohanim are equal, but that's not good enough. You can't make a kol shkein from something that's equal. Birchas kohanim has to be higher. So the Rebbe goes one step further, and here's the home run. The home run is as follows. The Rebbe asks, does tefillah b'tzibur require 9 people listening to the tefillah to be effective, to be valid? The answer is yes. You need 9 people. Without 9 people, there's no tefillah. And then the Rebbe asks, but what about the birchas kohanim? Do they require 9 people shoymin, listening, to be effective? And the answer is no. By birchas kohanim, if you have a minyan of 10 kohanim, nobody listening, the bracha birchas kohanim is still in effect. So much so that those people we said that were the amsha b'sadais, that they, even though they weren't in shul, they received the bracha from birchas kohanim, even if there's no minyan of shaymin in shul. But if there's no minyan of shaymin by regular tefillah, it's not going to help you. The amsha b'sadis aren't going to have the advantage of receiving that tefillah. Then the Rebbe says again, is tefillah a bakasha? And the Rebbe says yes. But what's a bakasha? Bakasha is a request. Either the Eibush is going to say yes, or chas v'sholom say the opposite. Is birchas kohanim a bakasha? And the Rebbe says no. It's a tzivoy. It's a command. When it's actually, the Rebbe says loshen haftocha. When there is birchas kohanim, the kohanim are saying, they have to, the Yidden have to be benched. So it's a Lashon Haftocha, so it's not a tzivui. So also much higher than just a bakasha. And then finally the Rebbe says, where is the bakasha coming from in tefillah? So bakasha in tefillah is coming from lamata. The tzibur has to ask from down here. Where's the tzivui coming by birchas koinim? That's l'mayla miseder shalashis. Like we said before, B'chlal birchas koinim has that special quality of being l'mayla, but more than that, it's a tzivui l'mayla. So the tzivui, they're pushing from above downwards. So now, finally, you can understand the Gemara that there is a maila. There's many mailas to birchas koinim over tefillah, and therefore you could bring a raya from birchas koinim, because just like by birchas koinim you have to do something in order for it to be effective, so too by tefillah you have to do something in order for it to be effective. So we ask that B'Korev Mamish, that we stand facing the Koinim in the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi to receive the ultimate Birchas Koinim with the coming of Mashiach now. Come up here.